Welcome back to Tottenham on Tour. Morning Brews is here. Emerson Royal, deadline. Veliz, not going to Southampton. And Richarlison wants to stay. Stay tuned here. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Tottenham on Tour. It's me, the Roadman. Unfortunately, Ben's not here today, and then this is a pre-recorded video. Before we get into that, I'm going to welcome my guest this morning. Brian, how are we, sir?
Good morning to everyone. I have to say, Dave, the way you went Emerson Royal, deadline, it sounded like that guy that used to read the football scores on the BBC. It was like, so no, it's all good. Delighted to be here. As you said, Ben is on a family holiday in Sardinia. Lucky man. So pre-recorded premieres is the way forward for the Tottenham to get their morning brew fix. And good morning to you all.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone. Now, as you can tell, like Brian said, the rest of the morning brews until Ben is back from living life is going to be pre-recorded. But let's get into it, Brian. Emerson.
Before we get into it, can I say one thing?
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have noticed. You might, if you're very detail orientated. Brian Ireland has spent the day making new graphics, new backgrounds, overlays, everything. He has done an absolutely awesome job. They are all changing. Anger management, evening brews, morning brews. So well played, Ireland. And I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a little bit easier on the eye for you first thing in the morning.
It is. It's really, really good. And the content that's going to be coming out soon, obviously when the new season starts and everything, is going to be fantastic. The channel's doing incredible, and that's thanks to everyone. So if you see this, I'm going to say it now, not near the end. Like and subscribe. A little plug there, little plug. But yeah, let's get into it. So I seen on Twitter today, Paul O'Keefe, in his beautiful mid-thread chats he loves to do, stated that Milan have a deadline of tomorrow. Now, he posted that earlier on, and then obviously a few tweets come out saying Emerson Royal is going to be close to doing Milan within the next couple of hours. Then Fab put it's going to be tomorrow. How are you feeling about this? Because I think the entire fan base has been waiting for this for so long. We've heard white smoke. We've heard he's touching Milan. We've heard he's on the plane. We've heard everything during this negotiation business between Milan and Tottenham. I mean, could this be tomorrow? Well, today, sorry. Could this be the day that we are not live, but Emerson Royal goes to Milan?
We never know. I will say it's now 4:33 in Toronto, which means it's 9:33 in the UK. And at 3:48 p.m. our time, which is 8:48 your time in the UK, Tottenham Tears actually just said Emerson Royal to Milan is imminent. Tomorrow, there will be direct contact with Tottenham to close the deal for the Brazilian fullback. The final figure should be 15 to 16 million euros in total, including bonuses. So I don't think we get the here we go tonight. I think this morning, when you're watching this, is the day, August the 7th, maybe even whilst we're doing this. There may be a here we go before this. There may be a here we go during it, but there definitely will be, I believe, the here we go tomorrow, and it'll be official. And I can't remember a saga apart from Conor Gallagher, Ryan. Hey, Dagul, just wanted to mention that we're not talking about it, just to say the two sagas that have played out all summer are finally over. So thank heavens for small mercies, or whatever the saying is. But yeah, we've been wanting this and needing this for a long time, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. And we've known for a while now that Emerson doesn't fit Ange's system. And, he's kind of, even though he's played a lot in pre-season, which we were really confused about and worried about, this was so close throughout the whole thing. And then he's pretty much playing every game.
Yep.
But let's go away from that. And, I know a lot of the fan base have, strong words to say about Emerson. And, how have you made of his Tottenham career from when we signed him to now? See, for me personally, I've kind of like, it's been a bit mixed for me. I've enjoyed him. I think he's a cracking person. He's a great laugh. You know what I mean? We've seen his TikToks. He ain't half funny on the pitch, doing no look passes out of the pitch. Like, you know what I mean? You got to love stuff like that. And he just played it off. It's not like it was like, oh, God. He just played it off like, yeah, so what? I don't care. He was a character for Tottenham. And the one thing I will remember by Emerson is, even though, you know what I mean, he wasn't the best, when he was on that pitch, he still tried. He still tried to give the badge, the Tottenham badge, something.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm so happy you said something there, because I hope he's in the chat. As you know, I put another bet on with someone else called Nick Collison. And it was, if Emerson leaves to Milan, he has to recreate one of Emerson's TikToks on our channel. And if he didn't, then I had to. Today is a great day. Conor Gallagher,
everything.
Mate, people put bets on with me, you lose. So, yeah, listen, him as a player never got a fair chance at Tottenham. When I say fair chance, I mean to play in his right position in the style of football that he was bought for. He's had plenty of opportunities, obviously loads of first-team minutes, and it just hasn't worked for him. He had a bit of a renaissance under Conte in that last season before he got sacked, when he played a little bit more forward and in advance. But he's had a good few managers where he hasn't really found his stride and been in. And fair play to him. Do you know what? He hasn't played in his natural position, so you can't. He leaves here, and he hasn't had a fair crack of the whip in that position. And I wish him all the best, and I think he'll be a big success in Milan. Yes, he's a character. He's a big character. But unfortunately, that gets you nothing in the way of trophies. And he's going. There's money now available, or more money available. Let's hope we now see it being spent.
Yeah, because obviously we heard reports that Tottenham were going to be looking at a new right back. And that kind of, you know, I think me and Ben spoke about this, and I believe you touched on this as well. It's kind of a position we don't really need to be looking at. With Jed Spence and his pre-season, it was really, really good. You know, Jed Spence kind of looked like a revitalized player, especially when, you know, we all thought he was going to be, you know, straight out the door. We've seen Gil and Reguilon stay away from the preseason and try and move away. Jed on preseason, for me, was probably one of the best looking players we had out there. I mean, he certainly gave Ange something to think about. I thought his attitude on the pitch was fantastic. And with Everson looking likely now that he is going to be going today, sorry, so confusing. Should we really be focusing on that right back position? Because we know Archie Gray can play there. We know Dragusin can play there. Spence, like I said, you know, I think he deserves a spot there. And we've got Porro, and we know Porro rarely gets injured. So is it confusing to you why we're looking at that position when it could be so easily covered by other players?
Yeah, let's have a look at it. First of all, Spence, we saw experimented at left back as well. So I think Spence stays, and he's cover for either or, preferably right for Porro, and not just squad rotation is vital. Game management is going to be vital with foreshadowed competitions we're going for. I don't want to see us going for a right back. I wouldn't mind going in for another left back if and I can't believe I'm going to say this, opportunity becomes available. But Spence does give you that flexibility. And obviously you can move Van der Ven left if you want to use Dragusin, and you can use Jamie Donnelly, but that's if he doesn't go out on loan. So we shall see. Obviously, Sean Slater will be wanting him to stay. Good morning, Sean. I know you'll be watching. I don't think right back is an area we need to strengthen. Maybe left back if Jamie goes, but that money should be used for more pressing matters.
Yeah, I agree. Well, moving on. Obviously, we were talking about bets before, and obviously, me and you made a bit of a bet, which was obviously in regards to Richarlison, and with him either moving to Saudi team, we're going to move into a European team or another Prem team, or he stays at Tottenham. Now, obviously, Paul O'Keefe in this same thread, which is on Twitter, mid-thread, as he always does, it's fantastic, stated that Richarlison wants to stay at Tottenham. Now, with our bet we made, obviously we said if he was to stay at Tottenham, we would do a 24-hour charity stream. So, I mean, for us and for the charities, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yep.
But for Tottenham, it's kind of like, there's a lot of mixed feelings again. A lot of this window has been a very mixed feelings from a lot of the fan base. For me personally, with Richarlison staying, I'm not overly mad because for me, we're not really joyed in that area, you know what I mean, of players who can score a goal. Now, when he's fit and the way we play, I think Richarlison works for us very well. When he was fit, he was getting a lot of goals and it fit the team better. With reports of obviously looking like Solanke's probably going to be our next striker bought, that gives us Richarlison, Solanke, hypothetically, Lancashire, Veliz, and Dane Scarlett.
Yep.
Right? Which I know we also know Ange likes to put Son in that position, even though Son's openly said he doesn't like playing there, he wants to stay on the left. I think we need to keep Richarlison at least until January if we're not going to buy two strikers. We can't replace Richarlison with Solanke and him being, again, practically a lone striker.
Yep.
How are you feeling about the fact that Richarlison wants to stay? And do you think this is some truth, or do you think it's just noise and he possibly could go?
Well, first of all, him wanting to stay is obviously how he's feeling. But obviously we know if Solanke is the one that comes in, there has been talk, and Paul O'Keefe mentioned it when he was on Last Word on Spurs, that he may be sacrificed. And I understand why. And when it comes to, we've heard that apparently he's open to a move to Saudi, but he wants to stay at Tottenham. It may be a case of you may want to stay, but the whole thing I've heard with Spurs and Richarlison is the one thing that they really get frustrated by is they cannot guarantee his fitness. His fitness has let him down time after time. So I don't think whether he wants to stay or not is the factor. I spoke on Evening Brews yesterday. Have I got that right? Yeah, this is morning. Yesterday, yeah. Yesterday with Ian, and said, if you look at it numerically, if you get a Solanke in and then you get a Richarlison out, you haven't strengthened, you've just replaced. And that's what Spurs have to be careful of, because obviously if he does go, do Spurs bring in Jonathan David, or do they say, no, we're going to stick with Solanke, if it is him, obviously, which looks like it will be, a Lancashire, and then we have Sonny, should he need to move in. And at the worst of the worst, a Werner, should he, because he has played centre forward. So, again, there's options there. I still see Richarlison leaving, regardless of how he feels. But if he stays and we can keep him fit and Solanke is there, yes, they're not the glamorous, brilliant strikers that Spurs have had in their illustrious history, but there is some strength there. There is some depth, isn't there?
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the reasons I wouldn't, because the problem is we've seen it many a times now that we always strengthen one position and make other positions weaker. This is where, for me, the talks of a right back if Emerson was going makes complete no sense whatsoever, when if the reports of Richarlison were going, it would make more sense to strengthen our attacking with the likes of Jonathan David, Solanke, etc. Because you don't want to. One thing I dislike is watching one player play multiple positions. I like a player being versatile, but you don't want a Son being played striker. We know he doesn't work in that position. We know his best position on the wing. It's where he's happy, and he knows how to play that position very, very well. With the hypotheticals of this Richarlison stay in, and we'll move on to the next point now, because it kind of feeds into this kind of striker role, which was, we heard a report Veliz was possibly going to Southampton on loan, and Michael Bridge came in, I think it was about an hour, 2 hours later, stating that, from his, understanding is that there is no truth whatsoever in Veliz going to Southampton. Now, obviously, we know Veliz needs a loan. We know that. We know with him staying, he won't get the game time he needs to develop. And I've never agreed myself with doing foreign loans. We've seen Hill go to Seville. It was a terrible loan. Veliz went to Seville. Again, a terrible loan. They're a waste of time. Do you think Southampton would have been a good fit for Veliz? And now that's that off, who do you think and what league, what, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What team do you think Veliz would fit best to? And just one more thing, do you think we'll offer him to Bournemouth in some sort of deal to get Solanke?
Well, that's the bit when this broke with Southampton, I was like, wait a minute, surely we're missing the golden trick here. They need to find a replacement. We could have said replacement and have a pick of them, in all honesty. When you look, that surprised me, but I will go back to what you said with loans. We go on about English players going to English clubs on loans, and you look at Dave Scarlett, who hasn't had the minutes, and then you look at Brian Hill, who we have sent back to Spain where he is comfortable. I think when it comes to our English youngsters, when it's coming to loan out, maybe someone like a Dave Scarlett needs to go abroad to learn because he's not getting the game time. Whereas the exact opposite with Veliz, I don't want to see him go back to Argentina. I don't want to see him go back to Spain. Go play in the Premiership or high championship team. Whether you start every game or whatever, you are playing regular English or training every single day in England, playing every day in an English or training with an English team, learning the language, learning more about England to settle in. I think it's imperative that should he go out on loan, it is to a Premiership. And we are looking at Southampton, a Bournemouth, a team in that kind of ilk, or a very high to mid championship team, because I think whether people like him or not, the only way we're going to be able to judge him properly and say, all right, there is a player there, look what he's doing there, or the opposite, is if he's playing regular English minutes. So I am all for him. Southampton surprised me, especially seeing that Southampton previous owners have said they're not going to deal with us after a certain person, it's too early to mention him, has screwed over a certain club a certain amount of times. So that one surprised me that Southampton were either, obviously it turned out to be nonsense, but I think an English move for Veliz on loan is a great, great deal.
Who would you like to see Veliz go to? Out of all the teams, obviously, in the Prem, now, because we really want to see him play. We know that Veliz has a talent there. He's a strong-looking type of player. And, you know, if you look when Veliz plays, he has a lot of passion for football. He's the type of kid who just wants and loves to play football.
Yep.
For me, I think a really good team would be like a Leicester. I think just coming up.
I was about to say one of the promoted teams.
Yeah, I feel like Leicester would be a good type of team for him to play, because if you watch Jamie Vardy for Leicester, he's that type of player who likes his back to goal, takes the ball down, wants to turn a defender and all that. Veliz wants to do the exact same thing. I mean, he scored a goal against who was it? Brighton was it? Brighton, yeah, when we lost to them, obviously. Yep. But he scored that goal, and even though we were losing, you've seen that passion from him. You've seen how happy he was to get that first goal. But that type of goal he scored is very Vardy-esque. That's what Vardy likes to do as well. Back to goal, make a turn, hit the ball. For me, it's Leicester. Who would you like to see Veliz go to? And is there any other of these strikers? Because we've still got Lancashire, still got Dane Scarlett.
Well, Scarlett, I think, has to go abroad, like I've said before, like we did with Troy Parrott, because he's gone to Portsmouth, he's gone to Ipswich, and it hasn't worked out. He started off well, and then it's kind of, right, we're going to chuck you in. You're going to go get regular minutes, but we're going to toughen you up and you're going to experience a different league. And hopefully you'll get regular game time there. Just focusing on Veliz, I think one of the promoted teams, whether it be Southampton, Leicester, or who's the other team that came up with
Ipswich.
Ipswich. I don't know. I don't know what Ipswich would be doing if they would need a striker. But then you look at the Championship, and there's a host of teams that could be around the playoff to bottom half of the top table, where he could get games and do well. So I would say one of the promoted teams, maybe a couple of other Premier League teams, depending on what kind of striker they're looking for, but definitely a host of the top tier Championship teams. He could do incredible, or at least get regular minutes, whether it be off the bench, whether it be starting. But like we said, the main thing is he's going to be immersed and embraced into English culture, the way England works on and off the pitch. I can't remember if he speaks any English or a little right now, or if it's been improving. I think he has to stay in England. Then we'll get a proper assessment of him, because I do think there could. Whereas I say Mikey Moore, there is. Alfie Devine, there is. I think he's, from what we've seen, he's a striker that isn't like a one up top that's got the pace, the power. He looks like he's got the power and the attitude. I'd like to see more from him, and we'll see what he got.
Yeah, I agree. Well, there is one team that's not in, obviously, the Championship, but now in League One that I actually emailed. I'm so shameless for this. I emailed them because I'm so shameless for this, but I would have loved to have seen it. It's only because it's round the corner from me, and it would make an excuse.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, which is Wrexham. I actually emailed Wrexham saying, by the way, you should look at Veliz. He's a really good player, just so he's close and it'd be funny. I didn't get a reply from them, but who knows? But hey, if he was working with Paul Mullins, it'd be fantastic because he's an incredible striker. But
you mentioned that, mate. There's another team in League One, if it was to be, and it's obviously our assistant manager that went to Birmingham. I can't remember his name, Chris Downs or whatever.
Oh, Blackburn, wasn't it?
No, it was Birmingham.
Birmingham, sorry, yeah, Birmingham. That was it, yeah.
Or Davies, or something. I can't remember. What was it?
Yeah.
Let me just type it. So it's
Chris Davis, wasn't it?
I think that's right. Let's have a look. Birmingham City manager. I just want to make sure I get the right name. Manager. Chris Davies. That's exactly.
There you go, yeah.
I don't know why I said something Davies or whatever I said. If he wants to go to a League One team,
that's another one, yeah.
That will be another one, but I don't think he's League One. I think he is Championship, lower end Premiership to really assess what he's doing. Or they do what they did with Alfie if he went to League One up until January, and if he's exceeded expectations, over you go to a Championship or a Premier League team. But he has to stay in England for me.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I don't agree with foreign loans to certain players and everything. I just don't see them ever working for us. And we've seen it quite a few times, it never works. But on a last piece, now obviously I know you touched on this on Evening Brews, but I'd like to touch on it myself, and that is Mikey Moore. Right? I just wanted to talk about this because I think it's fantastic, and I didn't get a chance to say my piece because I went on Evening Brews. But Mikey Moore is looking to sign his first professional contract, which is for 3 years. And then obviously he'll get his first team contract when he turns 18. I'm beyond happy with this. This is how you keep a player. He's been told that he's going to be around the first team next season. He's going to be getting minutes. I am not mad at this at all. Mikey Moore is one of them talents. You've just got to bite the bullet as a manager and say, you know what? I've got to play him. He deserves it. What an incredible player he is. But, and this is a big but now, I think he needs a couple of more youth players around him, not just first team players. I feel he needs, for me, the from pre-season, right, the youth players I feel that should be within the squad is Lancashire, Devine, and Donnelly, including Moore. Them four, I really believe should be stuck around the first team because for me, they stood out in pre-season and I think they gave a shout to Ange to say, look what we did when the ones in front of us didn't. We came on this pitch and we tried and we fought and we played exactly how you wanted us to. There, for me, them four are the ones that should be definitely around the first team next season. But I think it'll help more as well. I think just chucking him in when none of these around him and just first team. And apparently we're giving him more money than any other 17-year-old has ever received at Tottenham. Yep. That scares me for a young kid at 17 to be earning a lot of money. That's a worry.
Yeah, well, put it this way. First of all, we'll tackle the money. When it says a 17-year-old, we're paying him the most. Don't get me wrong. People like Ashley Phillips are only on 10,000 a week. So we're not talking exploding like he's on ridiculous. He seems fairly grounded. But this is what Paratici has done with when it comes to the youth academy and made the wages more reflective on the talent. And if we didn't do this, then there would have been another team or 3 or 4 ready to pay it, and probably more. See what I did there? Probably more. But there we go. Then you look at it. When it comes to the youngsters you mentioned, I agreed, but I still think a couple of them will benefit more from a loan. But then when you mentioned the youth academy and the youth or young, you got to remember Archie Gray and Bergvall are going to be there. They are going to be around the first team, so he is going to be surrounded by them.
True.
I think what you got to look at as well is on Saturday when we play Bayern Munich. That's going to be a key indicator to how things start next week away to Leicester in the opening Premier League. Can't believe it's literally that close.
It's so quick. It's gone so fast.
It's literally that close. But I think Mikey Moore is a sub that comes off like he has done all pre-season and has an impact because he will have the energy, he will have the stamina, he will have the impact, and he could have a big impact. He could have a big impact. I've been very, very very, very vocal with just how highly I rate this guy. The most important thing is on his birthday, which will be, it's now August the 7th. It's the morning of August the 7th. So it's 4 days away from his birthday. I think we're all hoping to wake up and see a little video from Spurs officials seeing him sign that contract. And the most important thing for people to remember is it's 3 years because he can't sign a proper long-term contract till he's 18. So if anyone's worrying about the length of it, apparently written within it or is this time next year, it will be a 5-year deal to obviously commit his long-term future to the club. I say long-term, what? He'll be 18, he'll be 23 by the time his first contract is up. Yeah. But listen, I know people are saying, oh my God, he's a kid, stop it, calm down. This is what Spurs have become. We're now waxing lyrical about quality coming through. When quality does come through, you've got to appreciate it. And he is quality. Yeah. He is quality. We will see the impact he has, especially again with 4 cup competition or 4 trophies we're after. The game time's got to be managed right, and I think it's a big season for Mikey Moore even.
Mickey Moore, yeah. Yeah, no, it's early morning, bro. You're allowed to mess up words, don't worry.
Oh, well, I was messing them with Mickey van der Ven, so it's Mickey van der
Ven. Yeah. Well, this is what I want to touch on. Obviously, we've seen Mickey van der Ven, Romero, Lo Celso, Bentancur, and that have finally come back now, obviously, from their lovely breaks away. Lo Celso is a name that's obviously a lot of people's tongues. We've heard nothing at all about Lo Celso moving out and everything. If Lo Celso was to stay, we're going to have too many players in that midfield, which I think, again, with the likes of Divine and that, it's going to hamper their chances.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I think Gio Lo Celso is gone by the end of the window. I don't think it's an issue.
I have that feeling too, yeah.
I've been hearing that he's had a major falling out of Ange. I don't know if that was before the Copa, after the Euros and Copa, during, after, whatever. But I don't think you'll see him in a Spurs shirt again. And if you do, it'll be on the bench as squad filler. I wholeheartedly expect him to be, by the time the transfer window shuts, I don't think Gio Lo Celso is a Tottenham Hotspur player. I don't think he's an Aston Villa player. I think he's a player in La Liga.
Yeah, I agree. And just final thoughts, because we've got a minute left. So if anyone's stuck this long, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate you all for sticking around. Quickly, Brig, just a quick word on this one. Cristian Romero, Real Madrid, offered apparently 50 million. Some are saying 150 million. On your thoughts, next season, if we do not progress and actually come close to a trophy or win a trophy, yes or no, is Cristian Romero going to leave?
Okay, I'll give a quick sentence first. What people have got to remember is at the end of this season, he's got 1 year left. He'll have 1 year left on his contract. So then it becomes, you sell him now or risk him not signing a contract. It's imperative we get him to sign a contract. If he signs a contract, he's going nowhere. If he doesn't sign a contract, I think it will be adios, and it'll be another defender that we a great defender that will lose. Signing the contract is the most important thing.
Yep, I agree. Well, anyway, that's it for this day's Morning Brews. Appreciate everyone sticking around and watching. Please like and subscribe. We will be back again with Evening Brews and also Morning Brews. But Evening Brews might be a little bit special tomorrow because it's not just going to be one Brian on. There might be two, which is exciting because it's been a very long time. So keep an eye out for that. And I'll start off with it. Doma ni min, Brian.
And as always, Levy out.